Today on Toy Habits, we are reviewing the sole recipient of the Russian-created Super Soldier Serum, the Marvel Legends Red Guardian figure from the Black Widow movie 2-pack. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits, and today we are taking an up-close and personal look at the Marvel Legends Red Guardian figure from the Black Widow movie and his weapons and accessories, so let's get right down to it. And let's start off like we usually do by taking a look at the box. And the Red Guardian and Melina come in the Marvel Legends window display box where you can see all of their accessories that they come with. And like most of the Marvel Legends boxes, they usually are pretty basic and they usually just have the logo of the movie or the comic that they're representing here with the Marvel Legends series branding. And they also have the Black Widow logo at the top of the box here. Now, since we're just focusing on the Red Guardian for this review, let's take a look at the side of the box where he has a wonderful animation that they've given him here on the side. And on the side of the box, the Red Guardian is illustrated in more of a cell animation style, and the art looks pretty cool. It looks like he's looking off to the distance, and his beard here is less pronounced than the movie and the figure, but I think they did that so you can see his collar detail, so his bushy beard wouldn't be hiding any of the illustration here. So as we move down the figure, we have his star that's right dead center in his chest, his belt, and also his legs in the shot too. And overall, I think this animation is really nice. And for Dux, let's just throw in his Marvel comic representation. And as you can see here, it's pretty much a basic superhero with a red suit and a face mask. And I really love the way that they've translated the Red Guardian from the comic to the screen in this animation here. Now, before we start, I just wanted to make mention that the Red Guardian figure is a reuse of the figure that was released last year, aside from the head sculpt and some paint apps. But let's dig into the Red Guardian figure a little closer. Right, and let's start off by first looking at the Red Guardian's head sculpt. And the first thing you'll notice is that the mask or helmet that the Red Guardian wears is represented really nicely. There's a red star in the center of his helmet, and there is that gunmetal gray stripe running down his head. You do see some detailing on the helmet that gives it some extra dimension, and if you look on the sides, his helmet curves around his ear, and it also comes around the back where his hair is, and you can see the black strap detail there. And not super fond of the ear detail here. I think they were a little sloppy in that department. It just doesn't look like a great ear for this guy. And I do like the way that his beard is represented. I think they did a great job just mimicking facial hair with how bushy the beard is and also how bushy his mustache is. Now, if you've seen the movie, the Red Guardian does not look this clean cut. He looks very disheveled most of the time, and there's a ton of hair that's supposed to be coming out of his mask here. So I would really love a different head sculpt that represents how we would see him in the movie. And he has a very stern look, and if you take a look at some of the shots from the movie, he does have a lot of emotion in his face, and they just gave him a really basic stern look here. So I wish they would given him some more of an emotional face sculpt to go along with his character from the movie. And taking a closer look at the Red Guardian's torso, I think they actually really did a good job just representing how the character's outfit looks in the movie. And I'm really puzzled by why they decided to paint this star that's in the middle of his chest a gunmetal gray when it's supposed to be more of a white that looks like his straps, but maybe that would have looked too close to their first release of the figure that they released last year. But I think they did do a good job representing the outfit with the black lines and the black detail here. And I think the strap detail looks really good, and I really love the gunmetal gray accents that they have on the clips and also along the belt here as well. One thing that I really love about this figure is the texturing that they've put all over his suit, and you will find this from top to bottom, but I love the texturing as it gives the figure a really neat look, and it just gives it a lot of depth and dimension. And turning the figure around to the back, you can see the black detailing that is going underneath his arms and also the straps connecting to his back here. So the figure looks pretty basic from the back, and this is how the Red Guardian's costume was made in the movie. So this is kind of what you would expect looking at the back of this figure. So the funny thing, or not so funny thing, about looking at these figures so closely is you can see the quality control issues that you see here. We have some straps that are not completely connected and they look really disconnected, and there is some paint that is missing from the straps here, and there is some paint that is missing from the straps up front here. So not a big deal when you're looking at it not through a camera, but I really wish they would pay more attention to getting the paint apps to look really, really good. His arms are symmetrical, so they are the same on both sides, so we only need to take a look at one of the sides. So you do have some black detailing running through his upper bicep here, and you do have a nice glove with some white forearm armor for this sculpt. And if you turn the figure's bicep around, you can look at the strap detail on the inside, and he also has some black detail on his forearm. One thing I will note with the articulation of this figure, and I get that these figures are super articulated and they want a lot of posability to the figure, but when you start rotating the bicep around like that, it just becomes a weird, chunky looking bicep, and it really doesn't flow into the arm. So that's my only gripe with these arms. And one last thing I'll mention about the arms is the lack of black outlining that they have on his shoulders. And if you've seen pictures of him in the movie, he does have black outlines on his shoulders that are here. But I wish they had done these lines that you see on his torso here and on his chest over on his shoulders, because I think that would have made the look a lot more complete. And taking a closer look at the Red Guardian's belt, we do get a screen accurate belt here, and again we have those gunmetal gray accents on the front of his belt, and we have all the pouch detail that goes around all the way to his back, and it's just a solid white piece connecting his belt together. And moving down to his waist, we have the obligatory crotch shot, but we do have some strap detail that goes underneath his leg here, so we have to point that out. Sorry, guys. And we do have some black lines running through the middle of his leg and some black outlining his knee pad there. And speaking of knee pads, let's take a closer look at those, and they are pretty basic. I do love the shape of them, and I do love how big they are, and they just fill out the leg really well. And moving down to the boots, it is a pretty basic white boot, but I love the detail that they've given it here, as it looks like he's actually has his foot in the boot with all the folds and the lines that they've given it. And I do love the shoe detail here, and if you've seen my G.I. Joe Classified series review, I do love a good boot and I do love a good shoe, and the Red Guardian is no exception. He has lace detail here, he has the white from his boot coming down over it, and he does have some tread on his shoe. And turning the figure around, you can also see that white detail completing the look in the back with those folds that you see in the front. So I think it's a great boot and a great look all around. And let's take a closer look at the Red Guardian's accessories, and let's start with his hands. Now he comes with a set of grasping hands, and I'm only going to pick up one of these to show you, and I do love the detail and kind of how lifelike these hands look. It actually looks like a real human hand. They've given it vein detail, and I do love the look of these hands, and they will look even better on the figure. Alright, and the Red Guardian does come with an alternate head sculpt, and I really think they nailed the likeness of David Harbour here. They did a great job just rendering his look in plastic, and it really makes this figure come to life. And I do love the beard detail and also the hair detail too. Like, they've given him a really stylish looks with chunks of hair. It's not just a single block of hair, and they do have his beard running into his hair here, which is great. I do love the eye sculpt, and I do love the furrow brow that they're giving him here. It just gives it a more lifelike look. And my similar comments to my previous thoughts about the Red Guardian's helmeted look, and I wish they would given him a look that is closer to how he's portrayed in the movie. And he does have a lot of looks that he gives the camera in the movie, and I wish they would have provided a different look for him here as well. Next, let's take a look at his shield, and his shield has a lot of depth and dimension, and it's sculpted really well, and I love the pieces that are layered on top of each other. This is a shield that is not just one solid piece, so you can kind of see the detail here and the layering on it, and it's shiny, and it also has those gunmetal gray paint app on it, as well as the red star in the middle. And if you turn it around, you have a option to plug it into his back, or you can plug it into his wrist so he can hold it. And you probably noticed that I'm saving the best accessory for last, and it is this little itty bitty representation of the Red Guardian in his action figure form. And I think this thing looks so darn cute. And no spoilers here, you're gonna have to see the movie to see if this actually makes an appearance or not, but it does look a lot like his comic representation, and I do love all the detail that they put in this little figure, and hopefully it comes out on camera, but you can see the sculpting detail on the knees, you can see it on the pants, and just all the layering that they packed into this little guy, even on the shield and on the back with the strap detail. And I think overall, this is one of my favorite accessories for one of these figures. And let's bring the Red Guardian out behind the acrylic display to show you how his shield hooks onto him. So he does have an attachment that goes on his wrist like so. So that just plugs on to his wrist like that, and it snaps in pretty well. And it just gives the guy a really cool look. Or you can take it off and flip that around and you have a plug that goes in his back. So I think that is actually a very cool look for the figure from the front and also from the back. Yes, and give the camera a look. Isn't that cool? And here is the Red Guardian all geared up with his shield, and you can see how it looks from the side, and it doesn't sit too far into his back, which I wish it sat a little bit closer to him and just gave him a more snugger look back there, but that's still okay. It just looks also just really cool from the back as well. And here is how the Red Guardian looks with his ungloved hands that are grasping hands, and as you can see, he can grasp the little mini-me action figure that he comes with, and I do love the way that he looks with his alternate unmasked or unhelmeted head sculpt with the alternate hands, because I just think it gives the figure a lot of displayability with the options that you're given here with his accessories. All in all, this is a great figure, and if you're a fan of the movie or David Harbour, you should splurge on this 2-pack if you haven't already. I mean, come on. Who can't use a mini action figure of the action figure you get in the box? It's a no-brainer. Well, that's a wrap, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the figure, so sound off in the comments below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out.